Did you know that your morning oatmeal, often seen as the ultimate healthy start, might actually be working against your heart health, all depending on what you add to it? It's a hard pill to swallow, especially for those who've made a conscious effort to eat better with age. Oatmeal by itself deserves its positive reputation. It's easy on the digestive system, packed with heart-friendly soluble fiber, and excellent for controlling cholesterol and blood sugar. But there's a hidden danger many people overlook. When you begin adding certain toppings or mix-ins, especially those marketed as healthy, that nourishing bowl can quickly become a source of excessive sugar, metabolic strain, and even long-term harm to vital organs. As you move past 60, your body becomes less forgiving of blood sugar surges, processed additives, and certain types of fat. Your metabolism slows, insulin response shifts, and organs like the liver and kidneys have to work harder than they once did. The ingredients you choose for your oatmeal can either support your aging body or silently overburden it. The trouble is, most people have no idea which common additions are causing the damage. In this video, we'll break down 7 popular oatmeal add-ins that may be doing more harm than good, especially for older adults. Some will surprise you. Others you may have used for years without question. But by the end, you'll know exactly which ones to avoid and how to turn your breakfast back into the health-boosting meal it was meant to be. Stick with us until the end, because removing just 1 or 2 of these could lead to better energy, more stable blood sugar, and better protection for your heart, liver, and kidneys. Your breakfast should nourish you, not drain you, especially if it's something you eat daily. Let's start with number 1, brown sugar, a hidden trigger for insulin stress. Brown sugar might look like a gentler, more natural choice compared to white sugar, but your body sees it the same way, especially as you age. Adding it to your oatmeal might taste good, but it also causes a rapid spike in blood sugar. That spike can leave you feeling sluggish, mentally foggy, and even hungrier within an hour. Over time, these repeated sugar surges chip away at your insulin response and raise the risk of type 2 diabetes, even for people who think they're eating clean. Why? Because as we get older, the pancreas produces less insulin, and the body becomes more resistant to what it does make. Throw in fast-digesting sugar like brown sugar, and it's like fanning the flames of a fire. Your blood sugar spikes, then crashes. The result? Increased belly fat, chronic inflammation, and greater damage to blood vessels. I remember meeting Janet, 67, who proudly told me about her healthy breakfast ritual: oatmeal with a splash of skim milk and a sprinkle of brown sugar. She had no idea that her well-intentioned habit was quietly sabotaging her health. She couldn't understand why she always hit a wall by 10:30 a.m., until she sat down with her doctor and took a closer look at her daily habits. The culprit? That tiny scoop of added sugar in her oatmeal. After just a week without it, her energy in the morning began to even out. "I didn't think it was the sugar," she told me. "It was just a spoonful." But that small amount was enough to throw everything off. The problem with brown sugar isn't just the initial spike, it's what it sets in motion. Sugar lights up the brain's reward system by triggering dopamine, the feel-good chemical. And when that dopamine effect fades, it often leaves you craving more. That's not a failure of willpower. It's basic brain chemistry. If you're still craving that touch of sweetness in your oatmeal, there are better ways to do it. A few slices of ripe banana, a sprinkle of cinnamon, or a dash of vanilla can give you flavor without sending your blood sugar on a roller coaster. The goal isn't to eliminate sweetness entirely, it's to stop flooding your system with the kind that burns hot and fast, leaving stress and inflammation behind. When you start your morning with steady blood sugar, everything else improves. Your mood, your focus, your digestion, even your metabolism. And sometimes the simplest change, like skipping that scoop of brown sugar, can make all the difference in how you feel for the rest of the day. Now let's talk about number 2, artificial sweeteners. At first glance, artificial sweeteners might seem like a smart substitute, especially for those trying to manage blood sugar. They're low in calories, don't raise glucose levels, and are often recommended for diabetics. But the real story is more complicated, and for many older adults, these sugar substitutes can quietly disrupt health in serious ways. The issue lies in how your body responds to artificial sweetness. When it tastes something sweet, it naturally prepares for incoming calories and energy. But sweeteners like sucralose, aspartame, and saccharin deliver sweetness without any fuel. This mismatch confuses your system, disrupts your insulin response, and can lead to stronger cravings later in the day. In older adults, where hormone balance is already shifting, this disruption can make it even harder to manage weight, regulate blood sugar, or keep belly fat in check. And it doesn't stop there. Many artificial sweeteners are processed through the liver. While they might not raise your blood sugar, they still need to be filtered out. For a liver that's already working overtime, whether it's processing medications, dealing with slower metabolism, or filtering other toxins, this added burden can lead to long-term strain. You might not notice the effects right away, but over time it can show up as sluggish digestion, chronic fatigue, or even elevated liver enzyme levels. I remember Charles, 74, who loved his morning oatmeal topped with sugar-free syrup and a packet of sweetener. He believed it was the diabetic-friendly choice. But when his liver numbers came back slightly elevated, his doctor suggested removing the artificial ingredients. What happened next surprised even him. Within a few short weeks, Charles noticed his digestion improving, and his follow-up lab work reflected the change. "I really thought I was doing the right thing," he said, "but I was just giving my liver another burden to carry." The lesson? You don't need artificial tricks to enjoy your food. Instead of reaching for synthetic sweeteners, try more natural options like cinnamon, nutmeg, or a splash of almond extract. Even a modest serving of real fruit, like fresh berries or apple slices, can satisfy your sweet tooth while delivering real nutrition, vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants. Lab-made powders can't compete with that. Your body has carried you through decades of life. It deserves food that honors that journey, real nourishment instead of artificial signals. Because when you give your body clean fuel, it doesn't just run better, it feels better too. If you're still watching and finding this helpful, go ahead and type number 2 in the comments to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to hit that button and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. Your support helps us continue making thoughtful, practical content just for you. Number 3. Dried fruits. Dried fruits might look like a smart, wholesome topping for your oatmeal. After all, they start out as real fruit. But the problem comes down to what happens during the drying process. When fruit is dried, it loses its water, but not its sugar. In fact, that sugar becomes highly concentrated. A handful of dried cranberries or raisins might seem harmless, but it can deliver the sugar equivalent of a candy bar, without you even realizing it. This concentrated sugar load is especially tricky for older adults. That's because the sugar in dried fruits is primarily fructose, which your liver has to handle almost entirely on its own. Unlike glucose, which your muscles and brain can use immediately, fructose is sent straight to the liver, where it's often converted into fat. Over time, that process contributes to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, an increasingly common condition among adults over 60, even those who never touch alcohol. And it gets worse when added sugars are involved. Many commercial dried fruits, like cranberries, mangoes, or pineapples, are coated in syrup during processing to keep them sweet and chewy. Just a few tablespoons of sweetened dried fruit can contain over 20 grams of added sugar. Even unsweetened options like dates, raisins, or apricots deliver a heavy dose of natural sugar in a very compact form. You may think you're giving your oatmeal a healthy boost, but your liver might be paying the price. I once met Gerald, 69, who ate oatmeal with dried apricots every morning. He believed it was helping his fiber intake. But he often felt bloated after breakfast and noticed his blood pressure creeping up. His doctor suggested a small dietary shift, skip the dried fruit and try fresh blueberries instead. The difference was clear. His bloating subsided and his lab work began to improve. "I had no idea those little pieces could do that much harm," he admitted. "If you love adding fruit to your oatmeal, keep it fresh. You'll get the flavor, the fiber, and the nutrients, without overwhelming your liver. A few slices of crisp apple, a handful of fresh berries, or half a banana can give your oatmeal the sweetness you crave, without overloading your system. These whole fruits don't just taste good. They bring water, fiber, and micronutrients that help slow down sugar absorption and take pressure off your liver. You still enjoy the flavor, but in a form your body can manage, especially in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. The goal isn't to cut out sweetness, it's to choose the kind that works with your body, not against it. Your liver has carried a heavy load for decades. At this stage in life, the best thing you can do is lighten that burden by making smarter, simpler choices. Now, let's talk about number 4. Flavored oatmeal packets. For many people, especially those living alone or trying to keep breakfast easy, pre-flavored oatmeal packets feel like a convenient win. Tear it open, pour it in, add hot water, and done. They're marketed as healthy, comforting, and fast. But behind that friendly packaging lies a mix of hidden ingredients that can quietly chip away at your health, especially after 60. Let's start with sodium. Most flavored oat packets contain 200 to 300 milligrams of sodium per serving, and that number climbs quickly if you prepare them with milk or top them with salted butter. While that might not seem excessive on its own, it adds up fast when you consider how much sodium hides in bread, canned goods, and everyday snacks. For older adults managing blood pressure, heart health, or declining kidney function, the daily sodium load can quietly push the body past safe limits. Then there's the issue of flavor. Most of these packets don't get their apple cinnamon or maple brown sugar taste from real fruit or syrup. Instead, they rely on artificial flavors, synthetic sweeteners, colorings, and preservatives. These aren't nutrients. They're chemicals your body has to filter out, requiring extra work from your liver and kidneys. And for an aging system already dealing with medications, inflammation, or slower detoxification, that extra filtering can take a toll. I remember Carol, 73, who had eaten flavored oatmeal packets every morning for years, sometimes even twice a day. "They were quick, and I thought they were healthy," she told me. But she started noticing swelling in her hands and persistent bloating that didn't go away. After switching to plain oats with her own apple slices and cinnamon, her puffiness eased and her blood pressure improved. "I had no idea those little packets could be causing so much trouble," she said. "Here's the hard truth. Many of the health claims on these packets are just clever marketing. Words like whole grain and low fat sound reassuring, but they don't mention the synthetic thickeners, stabilizers, and 9 unpronounceable ingredients buried in fine print. If you want real nourishment from your breakfast, keep it simple. Choose plain rolled oats or steel-cut oats. Add your own fruit, nuts, or spices. It takes just a few extra minutes and your body will reward you for it, with better digestion, better energy, and less inflammation. Number 5. Non-dairy creamers. They might seem like a smart swap, especially if you're avoiding dairy or trying to lighten up your breakfast. But non-dairy creamers are often loaded with ingredients that quietly chip away at your heart, liver, and metabolism, particularly as you age. Most store-bought creamers, whether powdered or liquid, are made with hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils. These are trans fats, compounds that raise your LDL, the bad cholesterol, and lower your HDL, the good kind. That's a dangerous combo for anyone, but especially for older adults already navigating high blood pressure or heart risk. Even if the label says trans fat-free, it can legally still contain up to half a gram per serving. And if you're using it daily, or more than once a day, those trace amounts add up fast. Then there are the chemical thickeners, artificial flavors, and synthetic emulsifiers added to create a creamy texture and a sweet, satisfying taste. These additives don't offer anything your body needs. Instead, they give your liver and kidneys more work to do, filtering out compounds that were never meant to fuel you. Over time, especially with regular use, that extra burden can trigger low-grade inflammation, one of the hidden drivers behind heart disease, joint stiffness, and even memory problems. I once spoke with a man named Frank, 75. He told me he used powdered creamer in everything: coffee, oatmeal, even soup. It was convenient, he said, and I liked the flavor. But over time, he started noticing digestive discomfort and creeping cholesterol levels. His doctor asked him to cut out the creamer completely. Within 2 months, his labs improved, and so did his digestion. "I thought it was just powder," he told me. "Didn't realize it was affecting everything else." That's the problem with non-dairy creamers. They're marketed as low-calorie, cholesterol-free, and convenient. But the harm they cause isn't obvious right away. It builds quietly, until the symptoms start to show. If you want that creamy texture in your oatmeal, go for something your body recognizes. Unsweetened almond milk, oat milk, or a splash of organic dairy cream, if you tolerate it, are better choices. Even a spoonful of plain yogurt adds creaminess along with probiotics and protein. Because what you stir into your oatmeal matters, especially now. After decades of hard work, your body deserves real food, not fake substitutes. This is your chance to nourish it with choices that support you, not stress you. Number 6, store-bought granola. Granola carries the reputation of being a health food. It sounds natural, hearty, and even heart-friendly. But here's the truth. Most store-bought granola is anything but healthy, especially for older adults. What seems like a crunchy, wholesome topping can quietly flood your body with added sugars, processed oils, and preservatives, turning your well-intentioned oatmeal into a metabolic minefield. Let's start with how it's made. To get that satisfying crunch and long shelf life, most granola is baked with sugar syrups and refined oils, usually canola, soybean, or palm oil. These oils are often highly processed and can promote chronic inflammation when eaten regularly. And for people over 60, that inflammation can show up as joint pain, low energy, or a creeping risk to heart health. Even the granolas marketed as low sugar or natural often use sweeteners like honey, brown rice syrup, or evaporated cane juice. These may sound gentler, but your body processes them just like table sugar, leading to blood sugar spikes, insulin stress, and cravings later in the day. That's a dangerous cycle for anyone managing prediabetes, fatigue, or stubborn belly fat. Then there's the serving size trap. Most granola nutrition labels list portions that are only a few tablespoons. But let's be honest, most people pour a generous handful, adding hundreds of extra calories, refined carbs, and fats without even realizing it. I remember a woman named Ellen, 71, who added a big scoop of granola to her oatmeal every morning for that satisfying crunch. She thought it was a smart choice, until she realized she was adding more sugar and fat than you'd find in a chocolate chip cookie. Once she switched to chopped walnuts instead, her blood sugar stabilized and her afternoon energy improved. "I didn't think that one topping could make such a difference," she told me. "If you're craving crunch in your oatmeal, there are better, safer options. Try plain toasted seeds, raw almonds, unsweetened coconut flakes, or pecans. These give you the texture you want, along with real nutrients, fiber, healthy fats, and minerals, without the hidden sugars and oils, because what you mix into your breakfast matters. The goal isn't to give up flavor or crunch. It's to fuel your body with ingredients that support your health, not sabotage it. And with just one small swap, you might be surprised at how much better your body feels. Remember, oatmeal is meant to help you. It should be a steady, calming start to your day, not a hidden trap filled with sugars, fats, and additives. When you know what to look for on the ingredient list, you give your body the clarity and care it deserves, one bite at a time. Number 7. Protein powders. Many older adults are told that adding protein to breakfast helps boost energy, muscle strength, and satiety. And that's true when the protein comes from clean, whole sources. But when protein powders are stirred into your oatmeal every morning, especially low-quality ones, they can quietly introduce hidden ingredients and unnecessary stress on your body. Here's what often gets overlooked. Most commercial protein powders contain artificial sweeteners, thickening agents, preservatives, and synthetic flavorings. These compounds don't nourish you. They burden your liver and kidneys, which, by your 60s and beyond, are already working hard to process a lifetime of additives, medications, and environmental toxins. Adding a scoop of processed powder each day only increases that workload. Then there's the question of quantity. The aging body doesn't metabolize excess protein as efficiently as it once did. What your body can't use for energy or repair gets broken down and filtered through the kidneys. For many older adults, even without diagnosed kidney disease, this added protein load can gradually contribute to a decline in kidney function. And the signs, fatigue, loss of appetite, fluid retention, are often subtle until the damage is already done. I once met a man named Dennis, age 78. He added protein powder to his oatmeal every morning after reading it would help him stay strong. But he was also on blood pressure medication, and his kidney numbers began climbing. When his doctor looked closer, the issue turned out to be too much protein, especially from low-quality powders. Once Dennis switched to whole food sources like eggs or nuts later in the day, his lab numbers leveled out. "I didn't realize I was overdoing it," he told me. "I thought more was better." If you're truly looking for a protein boost in the morning, food-based options are a better choice. A spoonful of plain Greek yogurt, a handful of almonds, or a couple of boiled eggs give your body protein in a form it understands, balanced with nutrients, without the synthetic load. At this stage of life, it's not just about adding more, it's about adding what matters. Your body still responds, still heals, but it asks to be treated with the clarity and respect it has earned. When it comes to your oatmeal, that means choosing ingredients that work with your body, not against it. Final thoughts. Your morning oatmeal may seem like a simple act of self-care, but what you mix into it can make the difference between nourishing your health or slowly undermining it. The 7 ingredients we covered: brown sugar, artificial sweeteners, dried fruits, flavored packets, non-dairy creamers, store-bought granola, and protein powders. Each come with their own quiet risks. And for those of us in our 60s, 70s, and 80s, those risks can have a larger impact than they once did. But the most important takeaway isn't just about what to avoid. It's about understanding why. Because once you recognize how your body changes with age and how it responds to sugar, chemicals, and processed ingredients, you begin to see how small daily choices shape your long-term well-being. They affect how you feel, how you move, how clearly you think, and even how you connect with others. The good news? You don't need fancy tricks to eat well. You don't need packets or powders or artificial flavors. What you do need are simple, real ingredients that give back. Things like cinnamon, fresh fruit, nuts, or clean milk. These are the choices that support your system, not strain it. That bring calm, not chaos. And when you begin your day in a way that honors your body, everything else tends to flow from there. So take a moment to reflect. Which of these 7 do you still use? And which are you ready to let go of? Thank you for spending time with us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts mean a lot to us, and your feedback keeps us motivated. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating thoughtful, empowering content for this stage of life and beyond. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.